And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Soc Talk. And this is a new launch by the Music Society of Jindal Global University. So I was actually thinking what I could wear today, and then I thought no better day to start off the podcast is wearing my favorite T-shirt, which goes by Rahman by day and Raja by night. So music for a long time for me meant just these two legendary musicians in our country. And today we're going to be having our artist spotlight, and we're also joined by Navreen. Navreen's here. Hi Navreen, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. So Navreen's a
Love the T-shirt reference though.
Yeah. I'm excited to have you on our first episode. So tell me Navreen, how are you and how's the lockdown been treating you and music for you? Like, have you been able to make more music, or how has it been for you?
I think I've tried everything. Intense percussive techniques or just practicing guitar for 3 to 4 hours a day. I have moved beyond, and these 4 or 5 months have really been a boon. Then I started teaching as well. So it has been a learning experience both ways, where in order to teach, I learned myself so many more things. So it's been fantastic.
Yeah. So how did this start for you? Like, what was that moment which told you, I'm going forward with this? Because teaching music to other people, that's a really big thing to do. So how did that go out for you? What was your story like?
So I think I always loved teaching, even as a child, but I never knew I'd get into teaching guitar. But I am insanely passionate about this instrument, I could just keep talking about it, and I know why people lose passion in playing guitar. And I actually made the mistake, everyone picks up the guitar and the first thing they want to do is play songs, right? They want to learn chords and just go ahead with playing whatever, Pink Floyd or GNR, or just go ahead and play Nirvana, just do that. But the fact is we don't have to jump in that, and that is what I try to tell people. This is the mistake I made, don't do it. 3 years after playing the guitar, I intensely went into theory and learning about everything that I left out, the pentatonics, the circle of fifths, all the modes that are there, the intervals and everything. And I'm still learning, and it's an endless universe, and the possibilities when you know this are endless. The point is just not sticking to the basic things that are taught. Like, if a G chord is played like this, there are 1,000 ways on the all around the fretboard that you can play the G chord. So why just this? So that is my idea.
Yeah. That's wonderful, actually. I think I can relate a lot to you on that, because for the first 2 years that I played the guitar, I was just going back and forth with basics. But then there is also that one moment in life where you have to step out of your comfort zone and sort of experiment with genres. And yeah, that's wonderful for musicians, actually. And since a lot of musicians are actually going to be listening to this podcast, let's talk about open mics and gigs. Like, how did you start? Because I, for one, I think I started sort of getting confidence with music once I started, stepping out and performing open mics. So how did that play out with you?
So it's a funny story, actually. I met this guy on a dating app who was a musician and used to conduct open mics in Summer House Cafe. I hope he's not seeing this, but yeah. So I performed there once, gave me great confidence. All of my friends came for support, which was wonderful, and it was like a 20-minute thing, I suppose. And then I got another chance to perform there. Great stage, and yes, I met a few people, but I always knew that I cannot get into this career as a career because I will never have support from my parents, and I wasn't as confident or as good. So I kept doing it on the side. It was always, a part-time thing.
Yeah.
It still is, and now I'm just transferring all knowledge that I have in the form of teaching, so that people who actually want to pursue it might do something good out of it.
Yeah, that's a wonderful approach, actually. I think people.
How was your experience?
Oh yeah, so mine with open mics and gigs. So yeah, like I said, I think confidence only builds up when you step out of your comfort zone and sort of perform for more people. And I think it was that one time we got a feature in the media. So we had an article written about us in the Hindu. I mean, it was a really, really tiny corner, but it still meant something for us.
Insane.
Yeah, because we were in school, and I think
Yeah,
we
of course.
started. Yeah, so we started out in school fests and school culturals, but it eventually came to this, and then law school happened, and then music society happened. So it was a wonderful experience. You sort of get to meet a lot of people, and I think networking really matters if you sort of want to build a career in music. So you network at every possible stage you can, and
Definitely.
also you try to collaborate with people who are also musicians. And I think a lot of collaborations these days actually happen online. So it's more of the cut, editing, recording, and all of it which goes on the monitor. So that's really fascinating. Yeah, that's great.
It's such a huge world, actually. The technicalities that go behind sound engineering. Once I purchased the mic and I started recording different audios myself, and I wanted to align them, my respect for sound engineers went a notch up. I was like, how do they even do it? Wow, it's
Yeah.
wonderful. So much goes behind a song. It's insane.
Definitely, definitely. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of aspiring musicians and artists are actually intimidated by the fact that you should have the right equipment and you should have expensive guitars. And I mean, how does that play out? Because as far as me, I think when you're starting out, I don't know how it's changed now, but since you do teach music to kids online, so you can tell me a little bit more about it. Because I think as far as I'm concerned, you just need a smartphone to record your stuff and you need a guitar, and I think
Exactly.
that's how you start. I mean, you don't have to start out expensive if you don't have the means to. What do you think?
Right. So, firstly, this guitar that I have, this beautiful guitar that I have, with the fret inlays and everything, this is actually a 10-year-old model. They
Okay.
don't make it anymore. It's
All
GBA
right.
brand. It is not crafted anymore, and I got this for 6 grand. That's about it. That's the price
Okay.
of this guitar, and it's
Okay.
working wonders. Like, I cannot even express how happy it makes me. It has got such a beautiful sound. And okay, secondly, I teach guitar to, I am a law student and I have been lucky enough to be in touch with advocates, and I'm actually teaching guitar to two advocates as well right now.
That's
And
wonderful.
that they wanted to start off because they were not sure if they were going to be passionate about it, but they wanted to start off. They bought a guitar worth $2,000. So, I mean, you don't have to go for expensive instruments if you're really passionate about it. And you're seeing an example right here. I have purchased a mic 6 years after getting into music just because I had to start teaching. Do I have a mic right now? Otherwise, it was always. And an advice for people who want to record, there is this app called Dolby, DOLBY, which give you the exact same experience as a microphone. It's fantastic in terms of sound recording and everything, and you can even hold lives there. So it's pretty fucking great, and really, I have seen people do wonders with 2 3 string guitars. So it's just
Yeah.
even
I
if they are
mean,
broken, they have experimented to the levels that it's nuts, crazy how experimental they are.
yeah, that's true. Actually, I mean, there are a lot of options to record online now. There are so many softwares you can explore, and a lot of interfaces you can
Exactly.
purchase for a very less price, relatively less price, which actually does the job of an amplifier. So if you're looking for that, you can definitely look at options which sort of record your music, and you don't have to have the most expensive equipment. So yeah, going by that. So what do you think about studying music in school? Because I had a few of my peers who actually study music in school. Like, is it easier for them to sort of enter the industry, or how does that work? Because I had a very conventional school education. I did humanities. So a lot of kids actually from a lot of schools, they have the opportunity to learn music theory, sheet music in school. And how does that play out when you're sort of building a career or sort of entering the industry?
Okay, so I have two examples to give here. Sheet music is fantastic, but one of the people I follow, one of the most fantastic guitarists in today's time is John Mayer. The way he plays the John, like, he has just, every song of his is going to teach you something new. I often say that I am Eklavya and he is my Guru Dronacharya because I have never met him, but through him, I have learned so much. Every song of his that I have covered has taught me strumming patterns and has taught me how to use a thumb over here, everything. Like, my fingers are bruised because of him, and I have crossed the intermediate level because of him. And
Wow.
he left the Berklee College of Music in, I think, right after the first year, and
That's right.
still he's so established. So it's not very necessary, but at the same time, I do not like this with the Indian schools, because otherwise I think in US they do teach ear training, right? Because it's very important, because I think everyone has music inside them, the capability to understand it. Even if you're sitting at a wedding or you're sitting at a party, your head just starts banging with the beat, or you start tapping your feet with the beat. So that actually shows that you're able to catch it, and that is something that needs to be worked on. And if they work on it like they do on colors, how does a person know what is yellow, or how does a person know what is purple? They constantly see the color and realize. It's the same with the ear training. How does a person know what C or D or E, F, G, A, B, C? So,
Definitely.
constantly hearing it would help. And just imagine this doing in LKG or UKG, in very lower classes where a child's ear is just in the. So I think it would work wonders if people are taught, but they aren't. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that if you're 60 you've lost it. No, you still can do it. So
Definitely. I think I remember
yeah.
year training when I was learning the Trinity syllabus, and that was actually my favorite part of the exam. So you have the theory, you have practicals, and then you have year training. And I remember year training was my favorite part. So yeah, I mean, it is a really fun exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would, you would feel so accomplished if you're able to identify a note or a chord, and you're like, yes,
Yeah.
that's my successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talking about school, let's talk about law school. How did that happen? Both of us are law students, and I think you're from the 3-year LLB batch. So you knew for sure that you wanted to pursue law. So how did that play
Yeah.
out?
So often people ask me how am I able to manage law school and music. I don't manage it. I terribly fail at it. It's just a constant struggle that I deal with. But I am pretty sure that I would not take music ahead as a career as of now. Teaching is
All
fine,
right.
but I have seen how people struggle in the indie industry, and some people getting preference over the others, not because of talent, but because of maybe contacts, or because of the equipment they have, or because of the genres they choose, right? So the
Definitely.
hard, real core talent is always overlooked, and it really hurts me. And just for a third person it is hurting me, so for a first person I don't think I'll be able to take that. So law happened. I actually did my master's before this,
All right.
master's in philosophy. I did 2 years,
Okay.
and I really had to attend college for that, right? I think in 2 years I attended the college 5 to 6 times probably, and
Okay.
I was wholly pursuing music at that time. I was just investing in playing better, getting better. I was teaching back then as well, under Furtados. So that was a great experience. Yeah, I mean, and that workshop, the Furtados workshop, was conducted by Chintu Bhosle. Funny
Okay.
name, but he's Asha Bhosle's grandson. So
Okay.
he had this band, he had this establishment in the industry for a very small while, but I think he was a fantastic teacher in teaching us how to teach guitar. He taught us the code of conduct and how to go about it. And I learned so many things in during that workshop, which was really amazing. So, but yeah, you asked about law, I'm so sorry. Law I always wanted to do after I did graduation.
All right.
I studied philosophy of law, and that is how my interest began. And even in the master's degree, I studied philosophy of B.R. Ambedkar. And if the framer of reading B.R. Ambedkar, you can't just keep it aside. You read it and you want to do something about it. So that is what happened with me, and I was like, I have to make some difference. So
That's
here I am.
amazing. All right. So you also told me you've been learning about music theory. So what's that about, and why do
Yeah.
musicians have to?
Okay. So, firstly, a little bit about percussion that I want to talk about. I used to play percussive fingerstyle, but I never knew how to teach it. Okay, and in order to teach it, I had to break it down because, I can cover songs, I can play drifting, I can play whatever percussive songs there are. Or I could make a 4-chord song percussion, but how do I teach that? What do I tell? So That is the thing. Acoustic is so versatile an instrument. Acoustic guitar. This entire guitar body is our drum kit. The kicks, the snares, everything. We can do so much with it. There are endless possibilities. That in order to teach, I had to break it down. And to all my students, I first show a drum kit, and then I produce each of those drum kit sounds on the guitar, and I show them that see, you can be a drummer and a guitarist at the same time.
Yeah.
So
I was there for your master
that for
class.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was really nervous about it, because I hadn't started teaching progressive back then.
Okay.
Now I've gotten a grip of how to go about it. And after that, while I was doing this, I also had to teach some things on the guitar. And I did not want to teach them like just go about with the chords. So I started breaking down chord structures for them, just taking the major scale and taking the root, third, fifth note. And that is how you make the chord. Or making the third flat is how you make the minor chord. And then my students just came up, see, like I'm playing the G chord over here, they're going straight away to the 11th fret and figuring out the chord on their own. And that gave me the feeling like, and I was the one who had to count in order to see whether they were doing it right. And then I realized that I don't know theory myself so much, and in order to teach I have to get better myself, and this process began. And then I got into it. I got into learning the intervals, the harmonies. Like if you play the C, E, G. This, if you sing with each single note, is what will give you a harmony. It's as simple as that. I sing with root, third, fifth. So this sound together is what is going to give you harmony. And it was so simple. Any particular major chord and take the root, third, fifth. So you get and it was such a grand experiment for me. Every song I could sing in a different way by adding the fifth harmony or the third harmony with it. So apart from, and it is just because I am focusing more on the theory. So even in guitar, you just don't have to stick, when you're playing fingerstyle, you just don't have to stick to a particular bass note of the melody. No, you can just go and harmonize the melody.
Definitely.
So it's a gigantic universe. It's really beautiful.
Coming back to that, so any last piece of advices you'd like to give them?
Yeah, definitely that don't stick to a genre. As you've already said, I just want to emphasize on that. There's so much music out there. There is just instrumental, There are combinations like alt metal rock also. You'll find psychedelic rock also. Or there are so many versions of blues. Like you can find bluesy jazz or jazzy blues. So you just don't have to restrict yourself. You don't have to just listen to rap. There is rap and metal combined also so many places. So Linkin Park is a great example of that, I think. But just don't restrict, you don't have to go and listen to the entire album of the band you like, or just even one song is enough, but explore your taste, give yourself a chance. Maybe sometimes country music is also good. Actually, everyone, this is why even Guns N' Roses have covered Knocking on Heaven's Door, a song by Bob Dylan. So they mingle themselves so much that it's, as a musician, if you want to explore, if you want to discover, there is no point of keeping yourself in a box. Yeah,
definitely.
At the same time, regional music, I even give a chance to regional music. I'm in Hyderabad currently. I don't live here, but on the FM, what is played is the songs that I don't understand at all. But I still give a chance to what the instruments are being played, and I give them an ear because it's better for me. I'll get to know what kind of music a certain set of people like or might like. So,
definitely. I think regional music is great too. Like there's a famous quote by a director called Vetri Maran. So it sort of goes on the lines like the more local you go, the more international you go. So I think that's a great place to put it here. So I think artists do have to sort of experiment and listen to everything that they can to sort of grasp, whatever they like or sort of find their liking in.
One of the guitarists that I really look up to is an indie one-man band actually. His name is Samar Mehdi. And he plays percussive fingerstyle. You will not be able to comprehend where his hands are going. Okay, his right hand is going all over here, everything, and his left hand is also going like this, and he's singing along. Okay, everything is happening just at once. So, and he's also a guitarist for a metal band. So he is playing percussive fingerstyle, singing Urdu and Hindi as his independent project, and at the same time he is playing for a metal band and giving backing vocals, and that is English.
Wow.
And they opened for. There was As I Lay Dying. As I Lay Dying is a metal band that recently came to India, and their band opened for, and it was a grand opportunity, I think. So we all should take inspiration from that person who was able to manage all of these two extremely wide, differing genres together.
Definitely, that's like a living
So yeah, such
example of
people
what you were
exist.
trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a
exactly.
living example of what you were trying to explain. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So with that being, we're also reaching a timestamp. And
yeah, so thank you for listening to Navreen and I, myself Karthika. See you guys on the next episode.